Howdy bubs and welcome back. Today we're going to be jumping into the next video for GameMaker, and here we're going to be taking a look at how to implement drops from our enemy and maybe include an upgrade mechanic. So let's go ahead and close this out and jump into our enemy code. Right now, when our enemy is destroyed, we just decrease the total number of enemies active and we increase the current score. But I want to add in a mechanic to also drop potential upgrades. So here I'm going to simply have instance underscore create layer, and this will be in a new layer, and this will be in our current X and Y position. And I'm going to create a new layer called drops, and we're going to create a obj underscore drop item. But right now neither our drop layer nor the object exist. So let's go ahead and address that. Over here on the left side, we're going to create a new instance layer, and I'm going to refer to this as drops. And then we're going to also over on the right create a new object, obj underscore drops. Now in here, we're going to create an event. What kind of drop? As with what we have used before when selecting what enemy variety we'd have, here we can select using a switch case structure what drop we're going to have. So switch on roll. I'm just going to have this be the value, and we're going to have a couple of cases. Right before it though, we're going to have to create roll. We're going to have to create roll, and this will be equal to choose, and then I'm just going to specify all of my options 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to have 4 options here. In this case, if we roll a 0, so our case is going to be 0, then I'm going to specify create nothing. So then I'm going to just tell instance underscore destroy. It'll just destroy itself. I also want to maybe use case 1 as well. So in this case, it has a 50% chance of generating nothing. So case 0 gives us an instance destroy, case 1 gives us an instance destroy, but case 2, I wanted to create maybe a coin drop. And so let me specify here extra points. And so I'm going to select my sprite in this case. I'm going to go into sprite and I'm going to create, let's see, a new sprite, SPR underscore coin. So I'm going to edit this. I'm just going to put a large circle. Let's see, we already have a decent number of colors. This one. Create a large circle that covers the full length of this. And just to show off some sprite work, I'm going to duplicate this, delete. Let me select this and just to show off some sprite work, let me go ahead and add a frame. And I'm going to turn on the onion tool to see where the previous one was. I'm going to kind of squeeze the circle a little bit. That looks good. I'm going to add another frame, look over to that. Once again, squeeze the circle a little bit. Add another frame, squeeze the circle even more. Oh, maybe I need something in between those. I think that's even. Okay, that looks good enough. Let me add one more. There, now it looks like it is shrinking. And then just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to duplicate half of these. A couple of these. So now it looks like it's spinning. Going back into our workspace, let me make sure the origin is in the center. And I'm going to go ahead and, where is it? Let me shrink the size of this. This actually does not need to be this large. I'll make this 32 by 32. Kind of messed it up a little bit, but oh well. This is again just for an example, and we can slow down the speed. I'm going to drop it to half of its frames per second. So that's what the player is going to see whenever they're playing the game. So it looks like a coin spinning. Good enough. Something cool, something quick and easy to show off. So we have that sprite available. Now let's go back to obj drop. I'm going to go ahead and specify, I'm going to create a new object over here called obj underscore coin. And it of course is going to grab our coin object, our coin sprite. It'll have one collision event. If our player collides with this, add points, and our obj underscore game manager dot current score is going to be plus equals, let's say this is worth 1 point. Now over here I'm going to do instance underscore change. So our drop is going to swap from whatever it is into something else. In this case, the something else is obj underscore coin. True just checks to see whether it performs all the events for its creation and its deletion. For right now, we're going to leave it as true. We probably don't have anything that actually gets fired, but it's better safe than sorry. So our instance will change into a coin. And then break. And then finally, case 3. What else can we have happen? Turn into some type of upgrade item. One thing that we can do is quickly and easily is modify the player's current movement. So this will handle upgrades. We get some type of upgrade out of this. In this case, I might just have speed upgrade. So instance underscore change, and we're going to change this into obj boost speed, and true. We of course don't have the boost speed object, so we're going to have to create that. We're going to have to mess around with the player so that way the things all interact with each other nicely. But before we get there, let's go ahead and close this off. Break, that closes that, and so now we have roll based off of whatever we roll, 0, 1, 2, or 3. If we get a 0 or 1, nothing happens. If we get a 2, we get a coin. If we get a 3, we get our boost. This kind of sets it up so that way you can modify it, increasing the chances of certain things happening. Maybe you have 10 options and 4 of them you just destroy itself. 3, you just get a coin, but then the last 3, you have 3 different upgrades you can possibly get. I'm going to add in a speed boost. Going into our player, let's go into our create events and set a couple of default values, so initializing things. First, we're going to have our movement speed. By default, if I check over in our step events, I was using 5 as our number. Let's also add another upgrade for our projectile speed. Projectile speed. If I check over in my fire projectiles, it uses just a hard-coded value of 3, but let's write that here. Update that line to use the player's other dot projectile speed, and that might be something we can upgrade in the future. So that there, we can replace this with movement speed. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove these other key events since I'm doing everything in the step event. You can modify everything as you see fit. Limit this to over here. So now that we have movement speed placed in here, we can have an easy way to modify that value. Also in OBJ coin, I did forget one line. After we collide with the player, and we have to make sure to destroy ourselves, otherwise the player will just farm points off of the coin. And now moving back up here, we're going to specify, we're going to create this speed boost, and I'm going to go ahead and create another object called obj underscore boost speed. But as we see, we're starting to fill up our objects quite a bit, so I'm going to create a group. In here, this will be all of our drops. I'm going to move in our speed boost in there, our coin in there, and might as well just throw in the drop in there as well. This will make it a little bit cleaner. I'm also going to create a group for our spawners, simply because I do have 3 different options. And that should be good for now, so I can minimize the spawners, and we're focusing just on the drops. For our speed boost, I'm going to quickly do more freehand art. Again, you don't have to be an artist. This is purely what I'm doing just off the cuff. Let's see, what looks like a speed boost? I'm going to make let's make a blue box with yellow stripes. Let's use the line tool. It's going to look very uneven and bad, but it's good enough to get the idea. Now that we've got that built, we can go to our speed boost object, specify, we're going to use the speed boost sprite that I just created. Let's make sure I rename that SPR underscore boost speed. The reason why I do boost speed is we're going to have multiple things that are going to be boosted. Speed is just one of them. You can also boost projectile later on with health, tons of different things. So I'm just following this naming convention. We're boosting, and then what are we going to boost? Now in here, whenever I collide with our player, what do we want to happen? I want to boost player speed. We need to make sure we have a carefully set up system for providing a boost that only lasts for a limited amount of time, or we provide a permanent boost to the player speed. It's up to you on how you want to implement this. I am going to run off of the assumption that I want a permanent boost for the player. If that is the case, all you need to write in here is you just have to reference other being the player, and we're going to modify the player's movement speed. I'm going to increase the player's movement speed by 1. So that means every time they go over the speed boost, their movement speed is permanently increased by, oh, sorry, not 1, 0.1. So it'll be very gradual. And then instance underscore destroy self. Now we can run this. I think I picked up a coin a moment ago. So we see a speed boost over there. Nothing got spawned there. Coin, speed boost. Okay, let me grab that coin. Let me grab these 2 speed boosts. There. I don't know if I feel quite that much faster, but again, it's very gradual, very small. Okay, now with all these speed boosts, it should be easier to see. Let me, I wanted to get rid of that. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna grab all of these speed boosts. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going faster. And so, again, it's very gradual because, again, you want to be playing the game for a long time, so the speed boost shouldn't be massive. If you increased it by 1 every single time, you're going to start seeing the player just zooming across the map to the point where it might end up breaking a couple of things. But by keeping it very gradual, the player can still get the satisfaction of knowing they've improved their score without it breaking game mechanics, though you might have to ultimately put some type of clamp or limit on what the value can be. But with that, we now have a completed player speed boosting system for permanently modifying it. If you instead want it to be a temporary modification, you're not going to use that line. So again, this is a permanent boost. A temporary boost, you can get a little bit crazier with it, but we're going to have to trigger an alarm. So with other being the player, we're going to activate alarm. We're going to, actually I'm just going to take its current speed. I'm going to set it to 10, so just double it. But right now it's complaining that there currently is no alarm for us to use. That's because we need to create it. Over in the player, I'm going to add an alarm. An alarm is essentially a small timer, and we're going to specify what we want to happen when this timer is up. I want to return my player speed, so movement underscore speed, back to its default value. In our create event, we specified it started at 5. I'm going to make sure it goes back to 5. Now our question is, how long do we want this alarm to trigger for? How long does the player have this boost? Remember, we have roughly 60 steps per second. And so if we want this to run for 3 seconds, I want this to be 180 steps, roughly. 3-second speed boost. This just involves creating an alarm. At the end of the alarm, the movement speed is returned back to its default value. Let's go ahead and demonstrate this. Let's see until we get a speed boost pop up. There we go. There's a speed boost. There we go. I have now increased speed up until 3 seconds have passed, and I'm back to my normal value. Those are the 2 ways you can implement boosts. Either make it permanent or make it temporary. If you're making it permanent, I encourage you to very slowly increase what they're allowed to get. Otherwise, you're going to potentially increase the player's strength well beyond what the game is capable of handling. But it is your game, so ultimately at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. But just to wrap things up, let's go back to our drop. And again, you can add more categories. All it takes is you just hitting enter, adding another case, and specifying what it's going to happen whenever you swap into that case. And again, maybe you're not happy with this breakdown. Maybe you instead want to add a total of 6 options, and for half of them, nothing happens. I do encourage you to try to keep things going in order, so that way it's easier for you to look at stuff. And maybe for this, there's only 1 chance of getting a speed upgrade. Majority of the time, it is nothing happens. You have a decent chance of getting coins. Again, your game, your system, your choice on how you want to modify the chances here. Otherwise, that's all I have for now. If you have any questions or need any assistance, just let me know. Everyone, have a good one. I just wanted to say thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Shout out to my bad bubs, my top 5, my day ones. Y'all have always been there for me. Next up, my baby bubs, the next 5. I always love y'all's support. And finally, for everyone else, any little bit helps. Thank you to all my basic bubs for supporting me along my journey. If you want to continue receiving notifications, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell button.